Yeah, jabronis, it is a Verd back with you again, and welcome here to our team for week 1 of the NPL. Tampa Bay Frogadiers up against Adam the Bee's Knees and his Houston Solrockets. And quick disclaimer, I guess, before this video. Sorry, my dad wanted me to throw the ball. Quick disclaimer before this goes up. I honestly have spent way too much time tinkering this team, and it's for multiple reasons. It's kind of annoying because, like, in all my other leagues, I've basically just built teams, back myself, and then just gone with them. But with this one, I don't know, with the NPL, I feel like there's actually a lot of pressure on my shoulders. It's so weird. I guess because, like, Gypsy and Maddie, you know, Zazlo, none of these big guys are there anymore, and it's, you know, the opportunity for the next, you know, big potential battler to kind of step up. And there's, you know, a lot of people who are expecting that to be me. So, I don't know, like, I mean, I just want to perform as well as I can. And, you know, this matchup, I guess the hardest thing too was everyone was telling me, you have such a good matchup, that you should easily win this game. And, like, that puts unnecessary pressure on you too, because then you're like, oh shit, like, I need to, you know, really deliver here because everyone's expecting me to win. Like, even my opponent, Adam, was like, dude, this is one of the hardest matchups I've had to prep for. But that worries me because if it's an even matchup, you can kind of assume what your opponent's going to bring. But when it's one of these matchups where, you know, in their eyes, I have a very good advantage, it makes it really frustrating, as Adam now is going to bring some, like, wacky sets that I'm not going to really be able to predict for. So realistically, what I've just tried to do is, at the end of the day, I've stuck with the guns. I basically said, right, there is a specific plan I want to go with here. I want to stick with this plan, and, you know, we're going to go from there. Pretty much is how I'm looking at my preparation for this battle. So the matchup is pretty interesting. Adam doesn't really have a lot of checks to a lot of my threats, which I guess is the main reason why he's a little bit concerned about this game. I do think the way that he's going to counteract this is with a few Scarfers potentially to catch my Coco off guard. Potentially try and chuck some moves on other mons to prevent my Horlucha from getting free setup, and I guess maybe finding some alternative ways to deter Sand. I think his Sand matchup isn't really that bad, because obviously Sandrill finds it really hard to break through both Bronzong if it has Levitate, and Shaman if it is, you know, just a fucking Shaman. Not to mention, even if I Mole Break a Drill and I can break through the Bronzong, like I said, there's still a Shaman there, so I need to run like EQ plus X-Scissor. But then Infernape's a problem, so I was contemplating Drill, but there was just too many variables kind of in the way of it being as good as I wanted it to be in this matchup. But yeah, so we're going to kick things off here with Azu. So Azu is basically the designated lead in this matchup. Realistically, it puts a lot of pressure on everything he can lead with. I'm running the Kevia Berry to counter a lead Infernape that wants to go for Gunk Shot, so I can eat up. It also works for Nidoqueen as well. I am designed with this variant to live a Gunk Shot from Infernape as well as a Sludge Wave from Modest Life Orb Nidoqueen. So I can live either hit from them and then proceed just to click Liquidation, which Oko's both, which is fantastic. In the Infernape situation, I may be more inclined to click Play Rough. I'm not too sure yet, because I feel like by clicking Play Rough, I can also catch a potential Shaman coming in, because Shaman, realistically, is the only counter Adam has on his team to Azumarill. So that's potentially something I want to take advantage of. Knockoff is just there because it's my strongest move to hit Bronzong with, and also can allow me to get rid of, like, Shaman and Finny's item, which is huge. This thing is serving kind of as a pivot later in the game, so, like, obviously the way I want to play Azumarill is that, like, say he leads with Nidoqueen and its Pasho Berry, then I can, like, Liquidation potentially into Aqua Jet, and then Nidoqueen's dead, and that's pretty great. That would be an awesome situation, honestly, actually, but it's just kind of to counter as many things as possible that I can. The only thing he can lead with that really deters Azumarill is if he leads with Shaman, which I do have, like, multiple switch-ins for, so I'm not overly concerned, I guess. If I had Shaman lead, like, it would be annoying, but I could play around it quite nicely. If he doesn't bring Shaman, then Azumarill has a really nice matchup here. I think he has to bring Shaman because of how big of a threat Belly Drum is to his team in this matchup. He does have decent priority, but yeah, I fully expect it. Moving on here, and one thing I'm actually going to change with this T-Tar set that I initially had is I'm going to go back to Superpower. Reason for it is because this T-Tar set initially had Stealth Rock over Taunt, but I decided to change it. Oh, I'm just checking what my dog was eating. Change it back to Taunt and change it to Superpower for a couple of reasons. So this T-Tar set's basic premise is that it's designed to kind of trap and deal with Bronzong in this matchup. Now, I've been contemplating over a few things when it comes to this T-Tar set. And one of them is definitely the fact that Unnerve is really nice here if he brings Chople Bronzong. Sorry, not Chople, Colbert Bronzong, because obviously Unnerve means the berry won't activate and I can just take him out, but I feel like Adam knows there's a chance that I'll just bring Unnerve T-Tar, so I feel like he won't run the Colbert berry. So that's why I decided to go with Sandstream, because it does give you that Spadef boost, which is really, really nice here. I went with Taunt over Stealth Rock because I initially had Brick Break on this T-Tar with Stealth Rock so that I could bring this in against Bronzong, and if he was dual screens, which I feel like is a very potential set that Adam could bring here, then obviously I could, break those screens with Brick Break and put myself in a really solid position. But with the Taunt, I basically just shut down anything that Zong wants to do. I feel like Adam knows that if I pursuit his Zong, it's going to do a shit ton. So I feel like he's going to try and be aggressive with his Bronzong. That's why I'm running no speed investment at all in my T-Tar, as well as so much defense, because I feel like what he's going to try and do is like some Trick Room offense or something. And my basic plan is, realistically, the main thing that Bronzong comes in against to check is Amoonguss in this matchup. So basically my play is to like send in Amoonguss, and then once Amoonguss is in, like against say like the Shaman or the Finny, I then double out into my T-Tar as he goes into Bronzong, and that puts me in a position where it's like you either swap out, and then you get punished for that, or you stay in like I expect you to, predicting the pursuit, and you try and go for screens, and I taunt you. Because after the taunt, like at that point, I can freely click Pursuit, and if he's a max HP Bronzong with like no defensive investment, then Pursuit does 78% min because I'm adamant. Now with the Choppleberry, that's there because that allows me to catch a lot of things on his team. With Sandstream up, it means that there's no move Nidoqueen can click that will kill me, and I can just knock it out with EQ. Lycanroc, the same thing. It can't click Brick Break to kill me. I'll eat that and then kill him. I can live an Infernate for close combat. I can live... I think I can live Superpower from Diggersby. I'm not 100% sure on that because Huge Power is a thing. But the main thing also this set is designed to do with the Superpower there is to lure in Mega Kang. So I believe that Adam, might bring Mega Kangaskhan to this matchup where his... he has to... I see Mega Kang being one of the big things that he does bring. But the way that I see him trying to set up with Kang is bringing it in against T-Tar. And, threatening it with a Power-Up Punch. Because he loses nothing from clicking Power-Up Punch against T-Tar. So my plan was to run a Choppleberry so I can eat the 2 hits and then fire off a Superpower and basically knock out the Kangaskhan after Sandstorm Chip as well. So that was the whole premise of that, was to kind of punish. So I could like trap and basically damage the Bronzong for a ton and then catch like Infernape or Kang. Now obviously this might not all work out that way because there is a chance that Zong just stays in and tries to spam Gyros, which do about 20%, which can put me in range of certain moves, so then I have to be careful with my T-Tar, but the basic premise is trying to get that chip onto Bronzong, which opens the door for Amoonguss and Buzzwole especially, and even Hawlucha to an extent. And then EQ is just nice coverage for his team realistically, and then, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Taunt, I don't know how often I'm going to click it, but I feel there are some situations where it will be really nice. Like I said, against that Bronzong, it is just so good in that situation. Because even if he doubles out, that's the other big thing. If he doubles out of Bronzong into something else, say like the Kangaskhan, and I go for Taunt, then I know he can't sub or do any other shenanigans, so he's more than likely going to click the... he's more than likely going to click Power-Up Punch or whatever, and that's when, my T-Tar can just fire off the Superpower, and if T-Tar can successfully knock out the Kang, then I can obviously bring in T-Tar later, potentially against the Bronzong, to get a Pursuit off and get off the damage that I really need for Amoonguss and Buzzwole to be able to put in work, particularly. Next up is the Amoonguss. It's a bit of a weird set. I got to kind of break this down for you. So basically, it's designed again as a bit of a lure, mainly for an Infernape, because I noticed that Amoonguss, like, offensively is really good here, and then defensively as a pivot, it is phenomenal. So the Spit F bulk basically is there so that it can switch in pretty consistently against Finny and Shaman to put pressure onto them. I gotta watch out for HP Fire Shaman, which could be a little bit annoying here, but I think he's more inclined potentially to run HP Ice. I'm not too sure. He's either going to run HP Ice or he's going to run Psychic, as that will hit... well, I think he's going to run Air Slash, since that hits Amoonguss, Buzzwole, Lucha. So I think he's not going to run HP Fire, so that means my Ockerberry won't get burned, which is great. I can save that for the Infernape. This Amoonguss is physically defensive enough to live... It's physically defensive and specially defensive enough to live Infernape going for Inferno Overdrive with both Flare Blitz and Fire Blast. I think it also lives Overheat as well, because it's an Amoonguss, dude. It's fat. It has enough special attack investment for a very specific reason. So, the reason for this is I was looking at like how Adam's going to try and prep his T-Tar for the... not T-Tar, his Kang for this matchup. And I feel like he's going to bring some like fat sub-Kang. There's a chance he does that and tries to set up on my Amoonguss. Like, Amoonguss knocks something out and then Kang comes in. I don't exactly want him to have a free sub in this matchup. That's something I can't really afford in this situation. So the way I've designed my Amoonguss is with enough special attack investment. And this is where the calcs get freaking weird, man. So I know that there's a good chance Adam's going to run a Kang with enough bulk to be able to always set up a sub when I'm trying to go for Sludge Bomb. And in return to that, I am going to be running Modest with 64 investment, which ensures that my Sludge Bomb to a Kang that is invested to live a non-invested one, it will always break the sub. So it sounds really convoluted, but it basically will counter him trying to bring that sub Kang. It also gets off really good chip, like it does over half to Infernape, which is amazing. So Flare Blitz, plus the recoil, plus then Sludge Bomb, basically writes Infernape out of the game. It would be much better if I had Rocks on T-Tar for that situation, but you got to remember at the same time, like, Infernape, it is a risk for it to come in a lot of times. Like, if the Sand's up with T-Tar, then it can get chipped by that. There's a lot of other members on my team that can chip Infernape along the way, so if Amoonguss can do that, it basically puts it in range of consistent Aqua Jet from Azu, which forces Infernape out almost every single time, which is fantastic. Puts it in range of literally every one of my mons with any move. It puts it in range as well, funnily enough, if it's a Scarfed Infernape, and it goes for Flare Blitz, then I can Sludge Bomb into that Flare Blitz, and then I could potentially double into T-Tar, because then, from there, the Pursuit damage will knock out Infernape. So, it all leads up to pretty good shit there. This is also enough investment on Amoonguss to allow it to live an Adamant Silk Scarf boosted return from Diggersby. This is really important information, because if I see it be able to OHKO my Diggersby, then I know that it's probably going to be banded, which is also great for me because I can send in T-Tar again, like I said, and potentially Pursuit Trap. So I got to play T-Tar carefully, because there's a lot of different ways that I can use it. Like, obviously, if there's a chance to knock out Kang, I'll probably take that chance. But there is the chance as well to take advantage of, like, a banded Diggersby. But at the same time, I have lots of members on my team that can take advantage of that. So, it is what it is. Moving on to Buzzwole here. It's just a pretty kind of standard, I guess, Scarf set. There's nothing super exciting about this. It's just nice coverage for his team. Realistically, it has enough speed. Okay, so this was an interesting thing that I worked on. I was chatting with Gypsy about this when we were talking about prep. So this Buzzwole is actually creeping mons that are creeping my Tapu Koko with a Choice Scarf set, which sounds really convoluted, but obviously Koko is my fastest mon on my team. Yes, Koko is my fastest mon on my team. I was about to say Holucha, but they ain't creeping Holucha. So Koko is the fastest mon on my team, and it hits 394. So I'm expecting him to run Scarf as it hit 395 and 396, and my Buzzwole hits 397. So that I can, you know, catch certain things, because he may run shit like, you know, Adamant Lycanroc that can creep Koko. He might run like Modest Noivern, because that creeps Koko easily, and then Buzzwole can just come like swooping in and outspeed them all, which, I mean, it's a bit of a bluff, potentially, I know, but, you know, I think it could actually pay off. The coverage here is really nice. This is a very good immediate Kang check. He also doesn't have a lot of good switch-ins to Buzzwole, which is really nice. I can kind of just fire off superpowers at will, because even if Coco wants to, sorry, not Coco, if Finny wants to come in, it lets me see if he's Fizz Def or not, and I can kind of play around that a lot easier, so that's nice. So yeah, there's that, and then just in general, it just comes down to, you know, like in a situation where Buzzwole's there, like what move am I clicking if I'm going to lock myself in. But late game, this thing can easily just clean through Adam's team. With the way that the rest of my team, as you can see, can wear everything down, it sets up a Buzzwole sweep very nicely and very simply. And we move on to the, I guess, the Electric Terrain core now. The last two members of my team. So we got Tapu Chungus here with Coco. I'm running Grass CMC with Grass Knot for a very odd reason, I suppose. So because I have the U-turn, it's so free for me just to U-turn out against Shaman, as well as U-turning out against Nidoqueen if I have to, because then against both of those I can go into Chople Tita and basically ruin the Queen's day, or like I said, I can go into Azu and basically fuck it up as well. Not to mention I can just go into Buzzwole and click Earthquake, so I got plays for days in that regard. But the Z-Grass was actually there for Diggersby, because I feel like Adam's going to use Diggersby as his immediate Coco check. I'm not sure if he's going to run Banded or if he's going to run Scarf, but basically the Coco is designed with enough defensive investment there to be able to live a Adamant Scarf return. So if he is Scarf, then obviously he's not able to knock me out, and I can, in return, just straight up Oko him with Grass Knot. Now obviously Adam could be like Rindoberry. I find it very unlikely in this matchup that he's going to run Rindoberry. I could see him potentially go Assault Vest Diggersby, which would honestly be like really good prep on his part if he was Assault Vest. But the big thing though with this, the reason why I'm talking about return is because if he reveals to be Scarf Diggersby and click Earthquake, then he's in a bit of a pickle there, because if he goes Scarf Return, I can just go into T-Tar and trap him and knock him out, potentially. And if he is Scarfed into EQ, then Coco will die, which sucks. But that does open the door for my Hawlucha then to get a free SD up. So I kind of got plays around that. If he is AV, then, you know, that's just well played by him. I do have ways to chip down the Diggersby though beforehand, so I would try and, you know, really make sure that I've got Diggersby where I need it to be, or at least, you know, U-turn earlier with Coco to kind of scout what he's going to do and try and set up for the Hawlucha sweep in the late game. Like I said, the way Adam has to kind of play this game is to try and set out his team in a way where Hawlucha doesn't just get the easiest sweep of its life, which I know isn't easy, but like the way that I'm going to play it is trying to wear down his team for a Hawlucha sweep. Like, it's basically either Buzzwole or Hawlucha that I expect to clean his team, but it also could be Azu, just with the fact that Aqua Jet is just so good in this matchup. But it could also just be Coco, because quite frankly, if he doesn't bring Nidoqueen, then I can just click Volt Switch is kind of just there. It doesn't really need to be there, but I also didn't see, I guess, any better move that I preferred in the matchup, I suppose. Potentially could be Defog, but I don't really feel like he's going to bring Spike Stack or anything. Potentially could be HP Ground or HP Water, because that hits both Queen and... well, HP Ice would be the one, because that hits everything. And gets that nice chip off, so I could potentially run that, but I liked Volt Switch because if I can remove, like, say if he only brings one of Diggersby or Nidoqueen, then if I can remove them from the game, then Volt Switch is just so free. I can just come in with Coco whenever I want and click Volt Switch and put on a ton of pressure on whatever's in, so that's really, really nice. I like that a lot. And then finally, we got the big man, the Mon that realistically should close out this game, but might not, because Adam might bring some ridiculous tech to stop it. I have enough speed to outspeed Kang because I didn't want Buzzwole being the only thing to immediately pressure his Kangaskhan in this matchup. Now you might be wondering why the hell you're running Rock Slide. It's literally only because, and I was mentioned this by Masto, he said that realistically the only thing that can actually resist the dual stabs of Hawlucha in this matchup is Oricorio Pom Pom. And I don't want to have to deal with that shit, so I'm running Rock Slide for that. If he brings Chardy Berry, then that's going to be unfortunate, but even with Chardy Berry, there's a chance Rock Slide could just kill. It's an Oricorio. It's another reason though why maybe Rocks on T-Tar could potentially be better here, because even if he is dual screen Zong, you got to remember he's still taking the initial pursuit. I may just run Rocks, because with Zong I can just click Pursuit the first turn, right? If he switches out, he takes the damage. If he stays in and gets up a screen, I can just Rocks on the next turn, and I'll keep Superpower because I don't really care about screens that badly in this matchup. As you can see, a lot of my team is just pivoting, so it's not too hectic. Potentially that would make Brick Break more viable because it won't be able to knock out Kang, so I can't do the bait with Kang, but at the same time, if Kang came in against T-Tar, I could always just go hard Buzzwall and pressure it, so it's not too detrimental, I suppose. Now he's got me questioning. I think I'm going to keep it a superpower. I think that there is a chance he brings that kind of zone, but I think that if he does, I can just kind of wear it out with T-Tar. I can just Stealth Rock after he goes for Reflect, and then, you know, if he wants to stay in cool, but if he is, like, say, max HP and has, like, some Spadef and shit, then I'm still doing, like, at least 70% with my Pursuit. So, I'm not exactly too concerned with that from Zong. It basically puts it in range immediately of Amoonguss's Foul Play, so that's nice. Anyway, so Lucha basically is outspeeding Kang, like I said, straight up. This also means that with the Unburden boost, I will always outspeed Scarfed Noivern in case he just tries to creep with Scarfed Noivern. As crazy as that sounds. Yeah, realistically, I'm just trying to bring it in on the best case scenario. So there's a few of those that come about. I guess the best case scenario, like I said, is Diggersby locked into Diggersby basically locked into an earth move, a ground type move like Earthquake would be perfect. Not to mention, I guess, also potentially I would say maybe Infernape, if it's choice locked as well, is really nice. But Infernape on its own is also just kind of fine. The only move I've got to watch out for is Thunder Punch. But the thing with Hawlucha 2 is that there's situations where it doesn't even need the SD in order to win. It can just come in, pop the Electric Seed, and then just kind of clean, because Drain Punch gets the health back. I can just start spamming Acro because I'm adamant and just get off a shit ton of damage. So, yeah, it's pretty solid there. I'm pretty happy with how the team's all turned out. Like I said, the big plan is just that Zong is the only thing that really stops Amoonguss from really ripping through his team too. So if I'm able to use T-Tar to put pressure on that way, it's nice. Obviously, it's a bit counteractive running Sandstream with T-Tar with the Synthesis from Amoonguss, but the Sandstream is really important here. And there's very minimal times where really, except for when Amoonguss comes in against Finny, where, you know, I get put in a situation where, like, if I want to Synthesis, but I could always just Giga Drain on Finny, so I'm not too concerned. I'm pretty happy with how the team's turned out. Hopefully it does the job that I expect it to do. Like I said, the main plan is going to lead Azumarill, most likely. It really depends on what I see. If I don't see Nidoqueen, then I may not lead Azumarill, because Azumarill is basically designed for lead Queen as well as lead Ape. But if I don't see Queen at all, then I may just lead with T-Tar, because that's also just really nice here as a potential lead. Or I just lead with Coco. That's also just an option that I have. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It should be a really good game. I'm excited for it. Adam is a fantastic competitor, so really keen to see what kind of stuff he brings, and hopefully we can, you know, get the W. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. My name's Averd.